Hi there, Dr. Brian here on Friday the 23rd. So, my evolution. How did I get to where I am? Where did I come from? What were the key steps that helped me arrive at a decision to do what I do? And how have I changed along the way? And what's interesting is that there's often a huge change, but it's quite incremental, and even to me particularly, it doesn't seem like a lot has changed yet. I can look back and see that I've changed a lot of views. I am quite different to who I was when I started. What drives me? What focus am I working toward? What am I trying to understand better? So one of the reasons that I wanted to become a chiropractor is that I wanted to work with the body at a more fundamental level. I want to get inside the body and actually work it at a level where things originate, because if you can do that, then you have more power. So, you direct the fire extinguisher at the seat of the flames, at the seat of the fire, where the fire starts. You don't direct it at the top of the fire. So you want to actually get into the base of the fire if you want to put it out. If you want to change the body, you want to work at the deepest level of the body as possible, so you can actually change the body's reactions to the environment, both internal and external. And the structural component is the most important, because gravity is something that the body must work with in Earth. If we lived on the moon, gravity wouldn't be as important, but we live on Earth and gravity is the ruler. Because we're a structure and we have to be supported in gravity, the body must support itself in gravity. You can support it externally, you can have crutches, you can have a wheelchair, you can do all sorts of external artificial supportive support, yet they have limitations, and the body is still required to do some work itself. You can't be completely unsupported. The body won't work if that's the case. So I'm always looking for what's the deepest level that we can get to with the body which will help it heal itself. And so structure is pretty fundamental, and it's something that everyone can identify with, because we all live in gravity and wear a body. But as we are looking deeper into science, quantum physics, and the latest areas of discovery, we're working out that there's actually more and more subtle but powerful areas that the body is actually getting feedback loops. A client was just talking about a recent experiment where they actually took a DNA sample out of an individual and removed it from the body, and then were curious to see if that DNA reacted or responded to the environment of the body that it came from. And they found that even at distance, and they got the distance up to 50 miles, it's an American experiment, so 50 miles between the DNA and the individual, and there was an instant response in the DNA to a change in thought of that person. So when the person thought negative, fearful, worrisome thoughts, the DNA contracted into a more tight helix, and when the person thought happy, expansive, relaxing thoughts, the DNA expanded in its helix conformation. Now that is pretty wizardry sort of stuff. So you can decide that it's fearful, or you can decide that it was very empowering, because you have this opportunity to actually affect your physical reality by how you think and what you feel. What you think creates the feelings. So if you want to feel better, then think better. It's almost too easy, but it's incredibly hard. So the circumstances that we're in create a thought loop. So you're in raging pain and you can't sleep and you can't move and it's really awful. It's very hard to ignore the pain and think past it to another thought, because it's all consuming, and that creates that perpetual cycle where the thoughts create more of the same. And that's where an analgesic or an opiate, a drug that actually interrupts the pain message, allows you to refocus, and that could be the major way that those medicines actually work to help the body heal, because it stops your brain focusing on the pain by actually interrupting the pain messages to the brain. You'll be able to look at chemistry that happens as well. The chemistry is almost like a bit player in the play. The actors create the play, but the play is the interplay of the scenes, the dialogue, the direction. The play isn't the actor. The actor is actually an instrument or part of the play. So how your body presents is actually, if you like, the play as a whole, and the chemistry that might be happening inside your brain, the neurotransmitters, all those bits and bobs that we focus on, aren't actually the thing. They're just the mechanism, and I guess they're the orchestra that creates the music. The music is not the instruments, they create the music. So I find that super exciting. I find that really interesting. It's the work is actually probably way harder when you look at that, because the idea of you want to hold a thought that's where you want to be when the present experience is totally where you don't want to be. It's just a huge effort to find your way to think of something that is other than when you've got a knife in your back. So that's a segue, but what I'm really getting to is the idea that I'm looking into the more fundamental layers of the body that actually drive what the body does. And it may be that we come to a full realization in the next few hundred years, it could be sooner, it could be later, that basically the body is a physical representation of our thought patterns, our spiritual environment, and sort of everything that's not physical creates the physical. And that, you could say, is a Genesis creation story. So maybe those stories and parables were telling us a great truth that in our scientific life we've decided we're too clever for, and just because the magnifying glass isn't strong enough, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, it just means we can't see it yet. So as we get cleverer in the way we look at things and how we measure stuff, we may find that all the stuff that we've tossed off as nonsense because we think we're too clever for it may actually turn out to be the great truth that was in front of us that we couldn't see. It's kind of fun. So for you and me, what that means is when we look at your body, we're looking at the most basic thing that we can do that will empower your body to help itself. And that could be something really simple, because simple stuff is often the most powerful, and the body is simple but remarkably complex. It's logical but quite confusing. But once you decode the body and crack the code of the body, it's as obvious as the writing on the wall. So it's in a code, but once you have the code, then you understand what's going on. So that's my job. My job is to be the code cracker and understand what your body's doing and why it's doing it, and then provide the solution. And that's really satisfying and really exciting for me, but particularly for you, because you're on the receiving end of that, and the more you understand it, the more you can be a co-creator of your own change for the better. So that's my Friday fill-up. Basic things, fundamental things create the biggest change, and they create lasting change that the body can really anchor back into. I will say goodbye after 9 minutes. I trust you have a great weekend. I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye.